Have you heard of the ketogenic diet or the slow carb release diet or high intensity interval training? What about the effect of insulin on the body? No? Well, then we need to find new resources, don't we? Hi, I'm Dr. Call, and if you've been a part of this journey so far, then you know the history. I'm a scientist. I've been working on diabetes for 7, 8 years now, and now in Columbus, Ohio, at the Ohio State University, together with the support of Pelotonia, which is a wonderful charity, I work on how breast cancer is related to diabetes and metabolic disease. The common link or thread to my understanding of diabetes and its many complications in the past has been the immune system. So I try and understand how the body's own defense mechanism either supports or starts working against it. And what I want to talk about today is not so much the scientific side of things, but this idea of Qualital. So essentially, I started with the concept of Qualital as far back as 2015, when I started doing my first ever diabetes associated get together event, shall we say, which is focused on communicating science and research with individuals who are generally not as exposed to scientific research, shall we say. The premise of this effort was that too many times scientific communication is misconstrued or it's portrayed in an extremely naive manner to either patients or end users. And something like diabetes, which is on the rise in so many parts of the world, it's just so poorly understood that it bothered me to think that people like myself, who were spending years upon years researching the topic, were not ultimately communicating it with the people who needed their help. So this is really where the story began. But of course, the name Qualital didn't come together then. The idea was, of course, just to try and reach out to the lay audience and help them understand diabetes, complications, and ways of preventing and monitoring and screening better. What I've done since is I've tried my hardest to communicate more with individuals through seminars, symposia, more of these events dedicated to wellness, and events that are centric around more solutions as opposed to just dogmas and diagnostic screening information. So the first time we did our event, it was based on yoga. The second time, it was based on movement, dance, stress release, including things like creative avenues of poetry writing. And more recently, when we did it again here in Columbus, again, it was focused on meditation, yoga, and diet change. Nothing that had to be dramatic, but something that could just be actionable enough to be brought into one's own lifestyle. Of course, when we talk about diabetes and lifestyle, we narrow down our approach quite a bit because when you really look into it, not all diabetes is reversed by lifestyle. There are, unfortunately, a number of situations where in diabetes, medication becomes extremely important. However, a lifestyle can still support the overall control and management of diabetes. So, no matter what medication somebody's on or what kind of a situation they're in terms of diabetes, its severity, or the span of diabetes in their life, a good lifestyle will still support them, will still help improve the quality of their life, and it will still help combat any major complications coming out of diabetes. You might wonder, what is this podcast about? What am I trying to convey today? Today is really an invitation. I'm hoping to invite you on board to become part of the community that we are now calling Qualital. So, why is the name Qualital poignant at all? What does it mean? In science, when you send out a paper to be published, you have it peer reviewed, which means that your peers, other scientists, other experts in the field will look through your paper, test its credibility, try and understand whether or not it stands its ground, and accordingly will approve of it to be part of the general public's knowledge. Of course, ultimately, only 15 people in the world might take the time to read the paper and actually make something of it. But the focus here is on creating something that's credible, that's resourceful, that's very well referenced and backed up. And that is really what needs to come out of this effort of Koltal. I'm looking to build a community of individuals who are either experts or lay individuals with a passion for learning about something and who are willing to pass on the information to a lay audience or anyone who needs it, really. Not at the exchange of a monetary gain, but more just because they want to help society and they want to help people who don't have the information or access to these important information, and to make better decisions in terms of the lifestyle or possibly even just screening and diagnostics, simple things. But most importantly, of course, for anyone associated with this community to be credible, to be reliable, and to always provide references, to provide resources that are meaningful and not just random claims that we know multiple witch doctors and crazy people make every day about diabetes and breast cancer and everything else in between. That's really what Koltal is meant to stand for. So, like I was trying to explain, publications in science are cited with the sense of the first author, whoever is perhaps in a way leading the project, and then everybody else is included by the abbreviation ATAL, which is a Latin abbreviation here to include everyone. Therefore, the name of this community is Call ATAL, because Call, of course, is my last name, but together with me, I would like for friends, advocates who have already been a part of the journey or who now want to become a part of this effort to come together and become a part of my scientific armor against diabetes and the armor to help support global healthcare and to help realize the stream of overall holistic healthcare. So if you feel like you or someone you know could be a part of this team, this community, and if you could find yourself contributing to it in any form, then I'd love for you to reach out to me and to get in touch. I'm really looking for this to become more of a conversation rather than just a dialogue from one end coming, or the monologue coming from me to you. So if there are things that you want to see addressed or topics you'd like to hear about, then this is a great chance to, in a way, guide what the next few months of Koltal will achieve. In terms of specifics, what I'd really like to see is the community built to the point where I have at least 10 healthcare advocates with me from the lay audience. I'd like for 10 people to join my team, so to speak, and help me bring out more useful information, more actionable information to anybody else who wants to have access to either information about a certain diet or a certain lifestyle or a certain exercise format, or just the most recent developments in certain clinical trials or drug trials. Of course, a lot of it I can contribute to as well, but like I said, this is more about building a community. And I have known people across the board who've done these things in the past with me, but this is just in a way asking for you to volunteer and officiate things a little bit. Because like I said, we're trying to do something that is going to hopefully avalanche and snowball into something bigger in terms of numbers, hopefully. Again, the focus, like I've said before, is not about monetary gains. I just want us all to be armed with the right knowledge, prepared with the right information, so that we can keep passing that on to other people and help people have better qualities of life, have better access to essentially empowerment of their own healthcare, because too many times not knowing what something can mean or how it can be managed is the biggest way that someone loses control of their own health and their own bodies. And that's something I feel strongly about. So I hope that this becomes an effort to have a better control on that. And finally, this year, I am looking to do something else. I'm trying to do another wellness get-together. But this year, I want something a bit more high energy. So instead of doing it on World Diabetes Day, or maybe I will do something on World Diabetes Day anyway in November, but in summertime here in Columbus, I'd like to do something that's a bit more dance related. So here's another chance to be a volunteer or an advocate. I'd love for someone who is perhaps trained in dancing or enjoys dancing or is just passionate generally to help get together with me and help me put together an event. I'm open to a lot of ideas. It could be a flash mob. It could be a little dance session. It could be all out Bollywood. It could be Latin nights. I don't know. It could be tango. It could be anything really for all it's worth. But exercise is a wonderful way of both exercising, or excuse me, dance is a wonderful way of both exercising and relieving stress. And it's a great way of socializing too. So I'd love to have somebody help me with this little project because I have 2 left feet and I know I can't pull this off alone. So remember Columbus, Ohio, most likely July this year. I'd love to make this happen together with the team. So if you know anybody or if you're somebody who would be interested in doing this, please get in touch. You have access to a link in the bio below, and that should bring you to the main page of Colatal where you can send me emails and look at all the other new things that we're trying to put together. But yeah, overall, so far, I'd like to thank you for all your support and for being a part of this journey, for associating with us. And I hope we enjoy more of your presence in our community in the near future. And with that, I'd like to thank you and say stay fit, stay healthy.